Yes. Right. Okay. So these are the passing trends since March 2023, and that's in front of you. Fairly possible that from March 2023 up until March 2025, I don't have that. I can't. I didn't. I forgot to actually include the data for June 25. But okay, we still have quite a lot of information. So the lowest score was in December 2023, and that is 41%. And the highest was in March 25. Okay, so that's not very far. That's in 47%. So if we just, you guys are appearing in December. So what if we check December's? 41, December 23, December 24, 44. What do you guys expect for December 25? 47? Let's not make it a trend like this, okay? The source is ACCA website, but on average, you can see, um, the passing ratio is not on the very higher end. So 40s, we are just playing in 40s. So that very much tells that this is a challenging subject. And why? Because historically, I mean, I don't think it's challenging, but historically, as you can see in front of our screens, it has been a challenge for students, and probably that's um, because it's a theory exam, and us accountants, we like calculations, we like numbers, and we rarely get the chance to deal with. We do get the chance to deal with numbers, but that's very rare. Uh, but there's a lot of theory. Again, in order to manage theory, best writing skills, and exam techniques, like I always say, let's have a look at trends. Now, this file tells us the syllabus areas that have been examined in June 2020 uh, in the last three attempts. So we have December 24 examination, June 24, and June 25. So we have the data available for three exam sittings: September, December 24, March, June 24, and June 2025. Okay. So syllabus areas, topics covered, question type, scenario or knowledge. Now these analyses have been made on section B. Always remember, it's not. We do not. It's not. Section A is not included here. It's all section B. All section B, because based on the ACCA past exams, if on the website, within the past exams, they don't include section A. I don't know why. I don't know why they do it, why they don't do it. They only include section B questions. So we can't really do much about it. So we can only make analysis based on the available information. And this is the available information. We are just talking scenario based. Sorry, talking section B here. Right. So as you can see, in planning and risk assessment, there is this scenario based question of 8 marks. Describe audit risk, and this is a very repetitive requirement. In every attempt, you should be expecting a question like this, whereby they'll say, describe audit risk. Okay. And then same goes for inter. So you see, there was this question in June 25. There was this question in June 24. There was this question in December 24. Okay. If we talk about internal controls, so control reliance, test of control deficiencies, control recommendations. Either of these two, either they may ask you control reliance and test of controls, or they may ask you control deficiencies, test of controls, and recommendations, or they can ask you everything. Okay. So these are also overlapping requirements. So in December 24, they pretty much asked everything for 16 marks. In June 2024, they asked again reliance and recommendations for 16 marks. Now here in June 25, they only asked deficiencies and recommendation again for 16 marks. So again, this is a very repetitive requirement. You should be expecting this all the time. Okay. Knowledge based questions. What are knowledge based questions? So knowledge based questions are questions that do not relate to the scenario in section B. You can answer knowledge-based question based on the knowledge that you gained from pre-recorded sessions, from your chapter notes, or from the live sessions. Okay, so that's book-based knowledge or rote learned knowledge. I mean, you don't have to refer to the scenario. In fact, there will be a note just below the knowledge-based requirement, and the note will say you do not have to refer to the scenario. So the examiner is telling you that you don't have to look at the scenario above, the case scenario above to answer this requirement. Your book knowledge is more than enough. Okay, and these knowledge-based questions are examined in section B, firstly. Secondly, they do not uh, have any connection. They do not have any connection with the scenario. Number three, book-based rote learned knowledge should be sufficient enough to answer these knowledge-based questions. Number four, they are examined in planning and risk assessment and internal controls. And as you can see, the trend that's in front of you. In all these three attempts, knowledge-based questions have only been examined in these syllabus areas: planning, risk assessment, and internal control. Sir, so what are the syllabus areas in section B? Planning and risk assessment is the first syllabus area in section B. Internal controls, substantive procedures, audit reporting. Okay, so they are must. Yeah, you may come across code of corporate governance as well. You may come across uh, code of ethics as well. But code of corporate governance and code of ethics may be tested or may not be tested in section B. We don't know. It's like a may or may not case. But planning and risk assessment, internal controls, audit evidence, substantive procedures, internal controls, they will be examined 100% in section B. Okay. And one thing's for sure, your knowledge based question will be examined from these two syllabus areas most probably. Okay. And now, sir, what are we going to do? Knowledge based questions seem very difficult. Let's see further analysis. Okay. Let's have a look at knowledge based questions over here. In the last three exam sittings, the knowledge based questions weightage is in front of you. They were examined for 8 marks in the last two in June 25, 8 for in June 24, and 9 marks for December 25 out of 70 marks in section B. So they represent 11, 11, 13%, on average 12% of section B itself. And they represent on average 8.5% of your whole ACCA AA exam. Right? So you don't have to worry much about them. Like I say, they are not very rewarding. You can see the weightage in front of you, but we can't even ignore them. So we have a document that I'll show you later on to deal with knowledge base areas, because they can ask you anything from planning and risk assessment. And as we saw, like we see knowledge based question for planning and risk assessment in 3 different attempts. Say knowledge based question, planning and risk assessment. In December 24, they asked benefits of audit planning. It was a 4-mark requirement. In June 24, for planning and risk assessment, they asked considerations of laws and regulations. Again, in June 25 recent attempt, they only asked the responsibilities relating to fraud in relation. Again, requirements are so different in every attempt. The nature is same, they are knowledge based, but the requirement is different. But one thing's for sure, have a look at the number of marks, just 4 marks in each attempt. And same goes for internal control. So say in December 24, five components of internal control, 5 marks. Okay. In December 24, benefits of audit planning, 4 marks. So 5 plus 4, 9. And here we see 9 out of 70. So that represents 13%. But scenario-based questions represent 89, 87% on the higher end. So that's exactly the reason why in live sessions we'll be focusing way more on scenario-based. There's a reason why I'm telling you this in advance, so that somebody might think later on during the course that we are focusing way more on scenario-based. Why? This is the reason why. The weightage is in front of you. And these are not my figures. This is exactly what has happened in the examinations. So here was one category of knowledge and scenario based. The other category is of the syllabus areas. So Code of Corporate Governance, Planning and Risk Assessment, their percentages, as you can see, as a percentage of section B, like I told you, that planning and risk assessment, internal control, substantive and audit reporting, they will be examined no matter what. Code of ethics and code of corporate governance may or may not be examined. So you see, code of corporate governance 6% in December 24, June 24 0%, June 25 0%, not examined. But that doesn't mean that we can ignore it. We'll do everything. Planning is on the higher end, 17, 26, 17%. Okay. Internal controls, they have been very consistent, 30, 29, 30. Substantive procedure is basically the love of your examiner's life. He loves this area. It's like his girlfriend, honestly. 40%, oh my God, 40% out of 70 marks available, 28 are coming from substantive, 39%, 39%. In here, sorry, Code of Ethics in June 25, 9%. Okay. Audit reporting, 777. Now, I always recommend a combo that whenever we deal with syllabus areas in section B, and we'll deal with this, I'll share this examination trend Excel file definitely later on when we'll during the end of our course. Okay, we'll 100% share with this file. I'll share this file, and at that point of time you'll understand what this combo means, how important this is. I always make a combo of audit risk, substantive procedures, and audit reporting. So this one, the ones highlighted in yellow, audit risk, that's combo 1. So you see combo 1 offers you 70 multiplied by 63. So how did I calculate 63? 17 plus 39 plus 7. So that's a total of 63% of your section B. So that's giving you 44% in total, 44 marks. In June 24, combo 1 was fetching you 49.7 marks. And in December 24, combo 1 was fetching you 44.8 marks. Can I ask somebody? Can I ask, whom can I ask? Ria, can you turn your mic on, please? Ria.
Yes, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
All right. Ria, do you know what are the minimum marks that we need to pass double A exam?
50,
Sorry?
50, 50.
50. 50. And what is the difference between this figure, sorry, this one, um, the one in green, 49.7 and 50?
Oh, maybe negligible
Maybe
because
negligible.
that would probably be a pass, right?
Yes. So do you get my point? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you understand how important combo one is for us? We need 50 marks to pass the exam, and 49.7 marks are attainable from only these three areas: planning, risk assessment, substantive, and audit reporting. You can turn your mic off now, Ria. It's fine. In combo 2, we have internal controls, code of ethics, and code of corporate governance. And that's in front of you. In the last three attempts, we only had, like 29% from internal controls and 9% from code of ethics. So it was giving us 26 marks, 20 marks in June 24, and almost 25 marks in December 24. And internal controls is a constant, as you can see. That have a look at the trend in combo 2. Internal control remains constant, 29, 30, 30. Code of corporate governance and code of ethics, there is a fluctuation. But sir, what if they are not examined in section B? Will they not be examined at all? If they are not examined in section B, remember, there is a very high chance they'll be examined in section A. So don't take anything for granted. I mean, the point of sharing this Excel file isn't that we will be ignoring areas that are not examined, just to show you all the trend, or just to make a plan or like a priority plan. You can keep a check on topics that you think are priority, but that doesn't mean we'll be ignoring topics that are not priority. Okay. Either everything is important or nothing's important. Okay. It's either way. So, any questions so far from these analysis?